I'm gonna call this one caffeine cold turkey or uh, a kick in the pants. So this one will be a bit data heavy because it helps paint a picture about how I had a health situation. I was aware of it for a long time, but didn't take serious action to deal with it until my body basically gave me a kick in the pants. So this is about a month ago, over a month ago, July 2nd. So I take high blood pressure medication to manage my high blood pressure. It's largely genetic, but of course there's a certain amount of lifestyle that affects that. So I've been taking this for I don't know how many years, this high blood pressure medication. It just turns out that, well, my prescription had run out, and when I finally got around to renewing it, it took a while for it to be renewed. So I was running a month without this medication. But on top of that, the usual stuff. Not really minding your diet, not exercising that much, spending a lot of time just sitting in an office chair and so forth. As always, we always have a collection of intentions, such as I should do less salt, I should exercise more, I should stand more, those kinds of things. But at least for me, and maybe you can relate to it, it never got beyond a simple collection of intentions. It never had that focus, that rigor, that planning, so that it approaches something of a very discrete goal. Well, my kick in the pants came on July 2nd. No, July 2nd, June 2nd, where for leading up to that date, for a whole week, I had bouts of lightheadedness. And then that weekend, I had pretty bad headaches, especially on the Saturday, lightened up a bit on the Sunday. You know, I suspected it was high blood pressure because if you're off your meds for a month, it's probably going to be that. So that was the case. And let's look at some numbers here. Let's see. There we go. So, turns out that on June 4th, my high blood pressure was incredibly high. And as a backgrounder, if you're not familiar with the ranges regarding high blood pressure, anything under 120 over 80 is considered normal or ideal. Between 120 over 80 and I'll just focus on the top number. That's what I tend to fixate on. So between 120 and 140, that's called pre-hypertension, and anything 140 and above, that's considered high blood pressure. Historically, I would always be closer to like 140, so close to high, not quite hitting high. That has been my norm for the longest time. Even when I was at a point in the past history, I was really, really healthy, mindful of everything. Turns out genetics is the thing that kept me close. Well, fast forward to June 4th, I finally got my blood pressure measured. 163 over 118. Crazy high. And my weight at the time was 186.8, quite a bit of COVID weight. So, had my blood pressure measured, got my new blood pressure medication, but I realized, I really don't like the lightheadedness and those headaches. It turns out through my research that a lot of people have high blood pressure, they don't even realize it. For me, I was aware of it, didn't do anything until I had those bad headaches. So I looked up what are the things I could do. And they include losing a few extra pounds, exercise regularly, eat a healthy diet, remove sodium in your diet, limit the amount of alcohol you drink, quit smoking, cut back on caffeine, and reduce your stress. So I decided to focus on 4 things, which was exercise, healthy diet, reduce sodium, cut back on caffeine. Additionally, I would introduce these lifestyle changes, but only over a 1-month period to see if those changes would have some kind of impact on my blood pressure and by extension, my overall well-being. Well, for that month, I made it a point to exercise regularly, and if you look, my exercise rings before July 4th, the green ring in the center, that one I didn't complete it hardly at all. But during the 1 month period, closed fairly consistently. Now for the past week or so, I've been closing it all the time. Awesome. Eat a healthy diet, introduced a lot of changes, and I found it wasn't that hard. Now I'm basically oatmeal in the morning, veg for lunch, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of the day. Sodium, I didn't add any added salt, so that was good enough for me, manageable enough. And the big one, caffeine. So prior to that date, I was 3 cups of coffee a day. 3 cups. The morning cup, the afternoon cup, and it's evening. Let's have another cup of coffee. 3 cups of coffee a day. And then I just went cold turkey. It wasn't that hard actually, so good for me. So here are the numbers. So here's the chart of the blood pressure measurements I had taken starting on June 4th, which was 163 over 118. On July 2nd, it was 134 over 96, which is remarkable because I'm usually closer to 140. Now I'm actually in the middle of the hypertension range, if you will, or the pre-hypertension range, which is good. So, the other benefit too I forgot to mention is that as a result of me kind of applying these lifestyle changes, I think I'm down 8 pounds from when I started, which is really good. I have a lot more energy, and I also don't feel the weight on my joints because I would feel that a lot, but also sitting a lot does that too. But because I've kind of added a lot more walking to my days, I don't feel it so much. So the added mobility and the reduced weight, I think, really contributed towards that. So the big question, would I continue doing this, say, for the next month? I would say definitely yes, because I found as I moved through the weeks, it wasn't terribly effortful to stick to my lifestyle changes. And I think that's the key for me. And I think it's the key for a lot of people as well, where I think if you identify changes that don't have to be significant, but changes you feel are achievable, then by all means, apply those changes. I think the hard part, and this was my concern, if I introduce too many lifestyle changes at once, it won't be sustainable and it'll begin to fall apart. But at least if I do it during a month, okay, I could have enough focus to stay true to that as best as possible over those 4 weeks. It turns out that it was actually quite easy to do. And as you see the positive results, reduced blood pressure, greater mobility, less soreness in the joints, and reductions in waste and weight, I found that motivated me as well. So, what does this mean moving forward? I think I'm going to continue charting at least for another month. We'll see what happens in the fall because, of course, the next big change that's going to happen is that kids are going back to school and you have like a whole other schedule to manage. So I think I'll reevaluate then, see where my weight stands. I don't have a hard goal as for my weight. For my blood pressure, yes. So I think that'll be my guiding light for at least through the summer. We'll see where it takes me in the fall. So to anyone who has high blood pressure, I hope you are motivated to look a little more closely as to what changes you can implement. And if not, I really hope you don't get it. But if you do, I hope that kick in the butt won't be as bad as the one I had experienced.